Hello and welcome back to the 784th offering from the Michigan Conservative Roundtable, also known as the MCR. My name is Mac. With me is TJ. We've been doing this for a little bit more than 5 years. If you wonder who we are and why we're doing it, it's pretty simple. We're just regular people trying to put the common man's perspective out there without a bunch of spin and without the lies of the mainstream media. You can catch us on Brighton. You can catch us on BitChute. You can catch us on YouTube, of course. And TJ, you want to say something about Rumble, right?
Yeah. And now, at our ripe old age, I'm still gainfully employed, unlike some. But yes, I'd like to, just kind of chime in on Rumble. We can be found under, and it's one word, MI Conservative Roundtable. I'll say that again, MI Conservative Roundtable. All one word, and that's where you can find us on Rumble.
And we would very much like you to watch on Rumble. We really need your support there. So like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on Rumble. And
consider it a Google protest.
Yes. Well, they do screw us, along with their minions at YouTube, who, by the way, the only place we ever lose views is on YouTube. Nowhere else. Not on Wimpkin. Not on me, not on YouTube. Nowhere else do we lose views. Only on YouTube. You got to ask yourself, why is that so? All right. So today, let's talk about the almost absurd statement made by Robert Hur of the DOJ, special counsel, on the classified document case against President Joe Biden. And he put out a statement, and I'm not going to read the statement, but I'll paraphrase it. Yeah, Joe's guilty. Yeah, we all know he did it, but he's so old and so feeble-minded. It's really no point in prosecuting him. And by the time we could put him in jail, he would be in his mid-80s. And let's just look the other way. Does that pretty well sum it up? What you think?
Yeah, and I'll paraphrase it differently because I heard the spin in that. It would be difficult to prove his intent with his inability to remember much of anything.
Oh, so okay.
And
there's contradictory evidence to that. Apparently, when he was doing a book thing with an author, he on tape said, "Let me go get those classified documents." So was he mentally ill then?
Well, what I mean by that is, yeah, he might have been remembering then, but say he was in, subpoenaed, like in a court situation, as present day, he might have trouble remembering what he did or didn't do 20, 30, however many years ago.
Well, you know what, and I understand that, but if I was driving drunk and I ran over a pack of school kids at the bus stop, might I be exonerated because I just can't remember doing it? Does that mean it didn't happen? It didn't happen because I'm too feeble-minded to remember it?
One of Hur's concerns was how it would appear to a jury that may or may not convict. In other words, you got a jury, and what do they see? A poor, feeble old man having difficulty remembering whatever he was accused of whatever time ago. Aside from the fact that we all know Merrick Garland wasn't going to indict anyways.
No, Merrick Garland is, I think, without question. If someone can correct me, or we have a historian in our audience, John Hawley, who maybe can correct me, but who has there ever been a more corrupt attorney general than Merrick Garland? And he's certainly proven why Mitch McConnell was right to keep him off the Supreme Court. Now, I don't know what Mitch knew, but Mitch clearly knew something.
Well, I read a news report that Joe Biden is furious with Merrick Garland because he didn't act quick enough in indicting, trying, and seeing him convicted really by now. And,
You're talking about convicting Trump?
Yes. When I say him, I meant Trump. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, the whole, he's Garland is Biden's lackey,
Well, my memory, which is not as bad as Joe Biden's, I do remember all these doctors coming out of the woodwork. And I would tell you, any doctor who comments on a patient they haven't seen is unethical and should not have a medical license of any sort. whether they be a psychologist, a psychiatrist, which you have to be a medical doctor, I do believe, to be a psychiatrist. But any of these people, they were all coming out of the work. Trump is unfit for office. He's mentally unstable. Well, if it was true, if what they said was true, how can he be tried? So, or is it just a matter of whether you remember your crime or not is what makes you guilty or not?
They, not that at the end of the day it's going to matter. They've kind of painted themselves into a corner. You know, anything they try to pin on Trump can be turned right back around on Biden so easily. It's actually pathetic.
Well, we know that Nancy Pelosi did a trial balloon on the 25th Amendment late in the Trump administration. And a lot of people, including us, speculated, oh, that wasn't for Trump. That was for Biden. Because they wanted to have that out because they knew he was feeble. And I mean, look at a video from 10 years ago. He's clearly not the same man. And who is 10 years later, unless you're young. But we believed at the time that was a trial balloon to get rid of Biden if they needed to.
Well, you in saying that, you've kind of opened the door to what I'm beginning to suspect is I think the establishment is in the early stages of turning on Biden. Okay. Right.
Well, we speculated that would happen long ago. I can't believe it took this long.
Well, yeah. And I guess what I'm saying is they were trying to figure out how they could legitimately not nominate him this spring at the Democrat National Convention. Well, from what I read multiple news reports, and yes, I know anybody can write anything. Point granted there, but you know the suspicion is that the Democrat establishment, which you know they're as slimy, if not more, than the Republican establishment. You know, at the end of the day, all it is whatever they want. But the suspicion is that the Democrat establishment intentionally let Biden go out there and in the most buffoonery of ways make a fool out of himself in the press conference, going to what was written in the Her report. Because, you know, he goes out there Thursday night as if to say, I'm not a senile old man, and then turns around and proves he's a senile old man. He does it on national television in a press conference. Got Mexico and Egypt confused, you know, and he did that within seconds of saying.
Maybe it was because of the Mayan pyramids, you know.
Well, he says he's not a senile old man, and seconds later he's confusing Mexico and Egypt. And
well, here's the thing: anybody can misspeak. We've certainly done on this program,
and we've done it in our video. Yes.
But there's a difference between misspeaking and shitting your pants.
Well, and let's just say timing can be everything too. You know,
yeah, that's right. So
the whole intent of the press conference was to dispute the content of the Her report, only for him to get up there and kind of prove the accuracy of the Her report.
So I'm going to throw out a couple of questions before we wrap this up because we don't want it to go too long. We know he's admitted, his guilt is admitted, and this isn't even the first time he's admitted guilt on tape. First rule of committed crimes is don't do it on tape. But, you know, he admitted bribing someone in the Ukraine. He admitted having these documents, which they're now going to claim he's too feeble to remember. So is he being railroaded out, you think, for sure?
Well,
by them.
I'd like to go back to what he admitted. What's the time frame? I'd like to go back to what he admitted to his ghostwriter, and I couldn't help but do a belly laugh when he blurts out to a reporter who asks him. He says something about I didn't divulge secret information to my ghostwriter. I mean, in his denial, his admission of a ghostwriter, because most people who use ghostwriters don't exactly like to openly admit nationally on national television that they're using a ghostwriter, you know, and then the word is that the ghostwriter did go back and delete the audio of him saying, hey, yeah, I got these secret documents. You know, the ghostwriter that shouldn't be, went back. I mean, so you're not going to find audio of it because the ghostwriter deleted it, you know? So there are so many angles to what happened Thursday night. It's amazing. It spins my head.
Basically, the Democrat establishment, deep state, whatever you want to call them, put him on display to make their case so he doesn't go to prison, even at age 88 or whatever the hell he'll be by the time they were able to do it. But I have to wonder, are they going to try to use this? For instance, here's what I think they're going to do. He's going to go through Super Tuesday. He's going to amass some delegates, some super delegates, that nonsense that they do. And then he's going to have to drop out because he's just unfit for office anymore. Kamala Harris will be president for 5 minutes, and Gavin Newsom might be her vice president, and he'll be the nominee. This is how I think things are going to play out. If the Michelle Obama card isn't out there. And I still believe it could be.
What amazed me, and this is like a side observation, is and I'm going to say this sarcastically, my favorite Republican rhino establishment, Hugh Hewitt, on the radio Friday morning was saying this guy needs to be impeached because it's so obvious as to his mental state, you know. And when you got
my understanding is impeachment is for a crime. The 25th Amendment takes care of the removal of office when someone is no longer capable of serving, which he never was.
What Hugh Hewitt was saying is he goes, you know, the Republicans want to impeach Mayorkas. He goes, Mayorkas is Biden's guy. He said, make that connection, but Biden he's not going to be impeached. Neither is Mayorkas, I don't think. But I mean, who knows? No. But you know, it's just the idea that when I heard Hugh Hewitt say it, and then I started thinking, and I read some other news reports. The DC elite, and when we say DC elite, think Democrat and Republican. The DC elite is turning on the guy, okay, and as to how successful they are in dispatching him from office, you know, who knows, you know?
Yeah, well, I think they're going to use Biden as a reason why Trump shouldn't be president. Look how old he is compared to a Gavin Newsom or even a.
That's entirely possible too.
So I mean because these people are insidious, devious. They're always looking 10 steps down the road in their plan to destroy America. So I think we can wrap it up with that. What say you? All right. Yep. So as we always say, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.